Oh hi. Sarajevo, the city, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Administrative center of the Sarajevo canton. Forms the municipal unit, city of Sarajevo, divided into 4 self-governed areas. The population minus 275.5 thousand people. 2013. Are 8% of the population of Bosnia and Herzegovina. National structure. Among indicated, 2013. Bosniak minus 81%, Croats minus 5%, Serbians minus 4%. The share of the Serbians living in the city as a result of war of 1992-1995 was repeatedly reduced. It is located in an intermountain hollow on riverbanks of Miljotski, in the territory of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. From south side, Sarajevo is directly adjoined by his former part, nowadays the city of Sarajevo, located in the territory of the Republika Srpska. Main political, economic and cultural center of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Produces 31% of GDP of Federation. 2012. The historic center consists of constructions of the period of Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian empires of 16, the beginning of the 20th centuries. This settlement, which subsequently received the name Bosna, from a tour. Sere, palace, is based by Turks about 1462. Since 1639 with breaks, the administrative center of the Bosnian Eyalet, since 1878, the main town of Austro-Hungarian Bosnia and Herzegovina. Since 1918 in the Kingdom of Serbians, Croats and Slovenes. Since 1945 the capital of the Republic Bosnia and Herzegovina. Sarajevo received the name from the palace built in the middle of the 15th century. The term Sarajevci is for the first time mentioned in the document of 1455, and can mean the field located to the west from the palace. From the Turkish Sere, palace, and Ovas, field. For the name of the city the name Bosnasere was used. Kiesi. The Shed, the capital of the Golden Horde. From Turkic the Shed, the palace, the office building. Literally the Bosnian palace, which was built by the Pashahazi Husrevbeg in the 16th century. After accession of Bosnia to Austria-Hungary in 1878 the name is changed to Sarajevo, literally, palace. It agrees one of versions, Sarajevo was founded on the place of the medieval town of Vrbasna. The term is for the first time mentioned in 1415. Headwaters of the river or the mountain over Bosna. From the Serbian Erki, Top, the mountain, and Bosna, the river near which the city was located. Bosniaki was called the city of Shekar Sarajevo, and by Turks, New Damascus. Because of former ethno-religious variety the city was called also European or Balkan Jerusalem. For a difference actually of Sarajevo from source Sarajevo the city is called sometimes Federal Sarajevo. The valley of the Miljotski River was populated at the time of the Neolithic. Scientists assume that on this area in the direction of the east at the time of antiquity the ancient Roman road ran. In the 6th-8th centuries in the valley Serbians appeared. In the 12th century the area was a part of the Bosnian Banat, in the 13th century which turned into the Bosnian Kingdom which was won by Turks in 1429. At this time the district of Sarajevo was inhabited by the population mixed in the confessional relation, the Orthodox Christians and Catholics who were under the power of the Orthodox Sort Pavlovici. According to a number of scientists, on the place of the city quarter of Skenderia on the left coast of Miljotsky in the Middle Ages there was a city of Vrkbasna. Some written sources. In one of them it is mentioned construction of Church of Saint Piet in Vrkbasna in 1238-1239. Report about it. The Sarajevo historian Hazim Shab in 1960 claimed that Vrkbasna was called the area in Bosnia, but not some concrete city. As the settlement with the status of a kasaba of Sarajevo was founded about 1462, and, most likely, wasn't connected with any medieval settlements. Can point transfer of the Slavic village of Broditz. The name probably belongs to the fort which was located here. From the Miljotsky River bend to the place of the modern region of Bend Bashatuit. According to an Ottoman census of 1455, near Sarajevo there were also other villages. The founder of the city it is considered to be Isa Resis Asakovicha, who became about 1460 the Pasha of the Bosnian Pakalik with the center in neogenic Sarajevo. At the time on the hill in headwaters of Miljotsky fortress was built, below on both river banks the shopping area, a Charshaya which center was Bashchashaya on the right coast was placed. The imperial mosque and the palace of the Pasha. Shed, from Turkic Saray, house palace, were located on the left coast. The mosque, a public bath inn were built. The 16th century is considered golden age of Sarajevo. At the beginning of this century the city under the leadership of Hazi Husrev Bega received the status of the city. Turkish Sheker. The father of the Pasha had the Herzegovinian roots and accepted Islam, and mother was a daughter of the Sultan Bayezid II. At in the library and madrasa and also Husrev Begova who remained still the mosque were constructed in particular. 1530. Which in the 20th century remained the largest in all Bosnia. In 1553 the administrative center of Bosnia was transferred in Banluk. Till 1639. As well as in other cities of the Ottoman Empire, the residential areas of Sarajevo were called Makalium, which quantity at the end of the 16th century passed for 100. 3 or 4 of them were not Muslim. The Ottoman traveler of the 17th century Evliya Çelebi called the city beautiful and brisk. The large not Muslim was made by Catholic merchants of Dubrovnik. Catholic quarter of the 16th century contained 66 houses. There was a church. To the east from the city I settled down Orthodox, in which in 1520, 1530 the old Orthodox church which remained still was constructed. Since 1565 Jews who in the 1588 years built a synagogue in the Makala lodged in the city. Not Muslims were exposed to discrimination. And it was forbidden to be engaged in some professions, to go buy horses or to wear bright clothes. The Muslims who were seldom leaving the house of the husband had the smallest freedom. In 1530 Muslims made 97% of all population of the city. In 1485, 27%. On population to the end of the century of Sarajevo became the third city of the Ottoman Empire in Europe after Kwolen and Edirne. The basis of increase in population was made by Slavs of vicinities. Slavic language was spoken by most of citizens in spite of the fact that official language was Turkish. During Great Turkish War, the Austrian army led by Evgeny Savoysky on the night of October 24, 1697 entered Sarajevo and burned the most part of the city. 10,000 citizens were taken away in captivity. Sarajevo fell into decay. The administrative center of Bosnia was postponed for 1.5 centuries from Sarajevo in the herbalist, and the population of the city couldn't return on the previous level up to the 20th century. At the beginning of the 17th century in the city there were 24,000 inhabitants. Since 1729 construction of fortifications about 300 meters long with towers and gate, partially remained still was conducted. Together with other Bosnian citizens were involved in the Russian-Turkish War of 1735-1739. And in 1804 they took part in suppression of the First Serbian Revolt. In 1831 in Bosnia there was a revolt means dominion of the Ottoman Empire. In Sarajevo the Vibosnisti Congress took place. In 1850 the residence of the deputy of the Sultan was transferred to the city. In the 1860th years the population made about 20,000 people. In 1866 the printing house is open. In 1872 in the downtown Orthodox Church of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin, which strongly differed from Old Orthodox Church in the sizes, was constructed. On August 19, 1878, after 8-hour fights with the Turkish troops and rebels from among local Muslims, the Austrian troops occupied Sarajevo, which remained the administrative center of Bosnia and Herzegovina under occupation of Austria-Hungary. During the period from 1878 to 1910 the population of the city doubled, generally at the expense of the Catholics appointed to the state positions and who were engaged in trade and rendering services. On a census of 1910 there were 36% of Muslims, 34% of Catholics, 16% of Orthodox Christians and 12% of Jews. 32% of citizens were natives of corners of the Habsburg Empire. In 1878 the Austro-Hungarian authorities appointed the mayor of Sarajevo Mustafa Fadil Pashik Bey's. In 1884 the first charter of the city, according to which the mayor was elected by the authorities of Bosnia and Herzegovina, was entered. The meeting consisted of 12 Muslims, 6 Orthodox Christians, 3 Catholics and 3 Jews. All mayors of Sarajevo in the period of Austria-Hungary were Muslims. In 1882 the railway station is open. In 1894 the horse tram, the next year transformed to the tram on electric draft, is started. In the 1880th years tobacco and textile factories, brick and other plants opened. The Vienna Ringstrasse was taken for a model of reorganization of the city. Joseph Pansash, who designed Catholic Cathedral of Heart of Jesus, the modern Palace of Presidium B's and other buildings, was the most famous architect of the Vienna school working in Sarajevo. Together with architecture, holidays and festivals held in Vienna and other cities of the empire came to Sarajevo.
In 1908, the authorities of Sarajevo with pleasure apprehended annexation by Austria-Hungary of Bosnia and Herzegovina. On June 28, 1914, there was the Sarajevo murder. A member of the Gavrilo Principom Bosna Mlada organization killed the successor of the Austrian throne Archduke Franz Ferdinand, who arrived in the city to watch military maneuvers.
Murder was the cause to start World War I and caused two-day Serbian riots in Sarajevo. Since 1918, the administrative center of the region Bosnia and Herzegovina Senior as a part of the Kingdom of Serbians, Croats and Slovenes. The same year, for the first time in the history, the Serbian Aristotle Petrovic became the mayor of Sarajevo. Since 1923, the administrative center of the Sarajevo region Senior. Since 1929, the Drinski Banovina. Sarajevo was poorer than other large cities of Yugoslavia. According to 1938, the budget of Sarajevo was 3 times less than at Belgrade, Zagreb or Ljubljana. Some streets were renamed into these years. Franz Joseph Street became the Street of the King Piet. World War II came to Sarajevo on April 6, 1941, when the city underwent the German bombings. On April 12 and 13, Italians continued bombings. Sarajevo appeared in the German occupational zone of the independent state of Croatia, in submission of a Great Jupa Verkbozen. The city was completely cleared of Jews. In 1943-1944, Sarajevo was exposed to Anglo-American bombings. According to estimated data, citizens died from violence during war, including 1,792 Jews, 1,427 Serbians, 412 Muslims, 106 Croats. From March 28 to April 10, 1945, the Yugoslavian army conducted battles for the city and freed it, having crushed forces of the whole German mountain case. After that, hundreds of streets received new names. The main street became Marshal Tito Street.
In 1945, Sarajevo became the capital of the People's Republic Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Since 1977, the city consisted of 10 areas. Stari Grad Center, New Sarajevo, Novi Grad, Vogosha, Ilidza, Ilieš, Pale, Trnovo and Hadžići. In 1984, in Sarajevo played the 14 Winter Olympic Games.
Since 1989, the city began to be influenced by the beginning of an economic crisis and growth of international tension in Yugoslavia.
On March 1, 1992, during a referendum on independence of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Muslims with the assistance of Ramiz Delic shot the Serbian wedding in the center of Sarajevo. Serbians on the city began to build barricades. On April 6, 1992, during peaceful demonstration, 6 people were killed, more than 10 are wounded. The Bosnian War ran high. The city was besieged by forces of the Bosnian Serbians. In the first months of war, many Serbians fled Sarajevo. On May 16, 1992, the group under army command of the Bosnian Muslims interrupted the Serbian inhabitants in Pofilačak, the district of New Sarajevo. From 150 to several thousand peace Serbians were killed during war by the armed Muslims and Croats. In June 1992, the airport through which deliveries of humanitarian aid were carried out was taken under control by Union peacekeepers. At the same time, the main part of the city was controlled by Army of the Bosnian Muslims, and suburbs where the Serbian population lived in the basic and nearby heights were occupied with Army of the Republika Srpska. Citizens suffered a shortage of water and food, interruptions in heating. The sewerage didn't work, the garbage wasn't taken out in time.
Explosion on Vasa Meskina Street with numerous victims entailed on May 27. Sanctions mines Yugoslavia accepted by the Union.
Explosions on Markala on February 5, 1994 and on August 28, 1995 also entailed serious consequences. According to the Ministry of Health of Bosnia and Herzegovina, during a siege of Sarajevo 615 of people died and were wounded. 75% of all cases fell on 1992. According to the Hague Tribunal, during the period between September 10, 1992 till August 10, 1994 not less than 4352 people died as a result of violence. 37% of all victims were the share of the civilian population. 66% died as a result of explosions of grenades, 18% from sniper bullets. The Dayton Agreement of 1995 put an end to war, having divided Sarajevo between Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Republika Srpska. Nowadays the city of Sarajevo. During the period from 1991 to 1998 in Sarajevo, the number of Muslims grew from 252,000 to 304,000 people. Croats decreased from 35,000 to 21,000 people. Serbians decreased from 157,000 to 18,000 people. In January 1996, in the territory of the city, the peacekeeping contingent of NATO of I-4 was placed. In the subsequent, with the assistance of Ibrid, restoration of the city, including housing and transport, infrastructure facilities, education and health care was carried out. In February 2014 in Sarajevo, in connection with a difficult economic situation of the country, there were disorders which developed into clashes with the police.
Sarajevo is located in the central part of Bosnia and Herzegovina and within the historic area Bosnia.
In an intermountain Sarajevo hollow on river banks of Miljotski. The city is surrounded by woody hills and mountains of Dinarski uplands. The highest of them, Treskovica, 2088 m. Then Balashnica, 2067 m. Njakarina, 1913 m. Trebivic, 1627 m. The lowest Aidman, 1502 meters. Follow. The last four are also known as the Olympic Mountains.
The city landscape also has hilly character, which the numerous abruptly inclined streets and inhabited constructions located on slopes of hills demonstrate.
Height above sea level, the historic center located in community Stari Grad -541 meters. In the seismic relation of Sarajevo, it is located in rather quiet region of Bosnia and Herzegovina, on east outskirts of the Sarajevo Zanitski pool.
The strongest earthquake near the city is recorded on the Mount Treskovica, measuring 6.0.
The distance to the Adriatic Sea. City of Neum. On a straight line makes 122 km. Distance to the next capitals on a straight line. 174 km to Podgorica, 195 km to Belgrade, 289 km to Zagreb. To the Banja Luka -140 km. The Miljotska River originates in the neighboring city of Pale,
which is also called by the Sarajevo River, flows through the city from the east through the center to the western part of Sarajevo, where falls into larger river, Tubosan.
Through the city and its suburbs several small rivers and streams also flow.
In vicinities mineral springs are located.
Thermal carbonic +32C and thermal sulfidic +57.6C. To the southeast from the city the Bosna River soars, Vrelobazan, to whom from Sarajevo the avenue from chestnuts and maples conducts is located. Among parks there are cities: Big Park, Betania, Dia Riva, Barica, Memorial Park, Vratsa Senior, Wilson Embankment. The square of the city makes 141.5 km.
According to WHO data, Sarajevo is the most polluted city of Europe on quality of atmospheric air.
In 2012 the high level of air pollution was noted by the weight particles, PM, and gaseous substances. So, his arrangement in a hollow promotes stagnation of harmful emissions in the atmosphere in wintertime. Climate of the district of Sarajevo moderately continental, coming influence of the Mediterranean climate from the south. Warm summer. The warmest month, July, with an average temperature of +19.1 C. The absolute maximum of temperature was noted on August 19, 1946. +40.0 C. On average the summer in Sarajevo lasts 68 days. Cool winter. The coldest month, January, with an average temperature 1.3 C. In the winter long fogs are characteristic.
The absolute minimum of temperature was noted on January 24, 1942.
26.4 C. Air temperature below 0 C keeps on average 28 days, in an interval between October 23 and on April 29. Snow cover keeps 139 days, in an interval from November 18 to April 6. Because of proximity of the Adriatic Sea, the fall is warmer than spring. Annual fluctuation of temperatures is 20.4 C. Rainfall is distributed in a year rather evenly.
At most it falls on June and October, at least for February and January.
Sunshine makes 1830 hours a year, including 260 hours in August and 46 in December. The city is located in the 7th zone of frost resistance. The area is subject to floods at an exit from riverbanks of Bosna and her inflows, including Miljotska. The coat of arms of Sarajevo together with a flag of Sarajevo were approved in 2000.
During domination of Austria-Hungary there was a coat of arms of Sarajevo with 2 clubs and a half moon.
In 1965 the new coat of arms, which was a prototype modern, was approved. The modern coat of arms represents the board consisting of 3 parts. In a middle part the fortification and gate of black color is represented. In the top part the triangles of green color symbolizing a roof of fortress and the mountain at the same time are represented.
The lower part symbolizes the river valley of blue color with the bridge of white color.
The flag of Sarajevo represents a rectangular panel of light blue color with a ratio of the parties 1:2, in which center there is a coat of arms of Sarajevo. By results of a census of 2013, the population of the city of Sarajevo, community Stari Grad, the center, New Sarajevo and Novi Grad, was 275,524 people. National structure. Among indicated. Bosniak -81%, Croats -5%, Serbians -4%. According to a census of 1991, the population of the city made 527,049 people. From them 49% of Muslims, 30% of Serbians, 7% of Croats, 11% of Yugoslavs. In 6 of 10 areas Muslims made the majority. In the area Stari Grad 78% of the population fell to the share of Muslims. The greatest number of Serbians lived in the district of Pale -67%, the smallest in Stari Grad. Croats in Stari Grad there were 2%. By estimates, during the Bosnian War of Sarajevo forever left more than a half of the population.
The population of Sarajevo and its suburbs in borders of the pre-war city of Sarajevo in 2007 was 419.0 thousand people.
Some sources allocate the metropolitan district of Sarajevo including his suburbs.
The Sarajevo dialect, which speaks the population of the city and its next vicinities, represents a kind of the southern subdialect of the East Bosnian.
Ikovsko-Shakavski dialect with Ikavski type pronunciation, Praslavyansky ***. By the beginning of the 21st century are reached in the form of the remains because of population shift in the 1990s. At the same time, the Ikovsko-Kavski dialect of the Sarajevo region of Bilov completely disappeared. Disappearance of differences between hard and soft affricative consonants of C and C, D, Z and D belongs to the remained features of informal conversation. The found loss of vowels. Sarajevo instead of literary Sarajevo. Pijat instead of pivoti in verbs in the form of an infinitive with determination T. And others. To the east and the southeast from Sarajevo, dialects of Ikovsko-Shtakovski type of the East Herzegovinian dialect are widespread. According to the Constitution of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sarajevo is the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
According to the Constitution of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the capital of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
According to the Constitution of the Republika Srpska, the capital of the Republika Srpska.
Actually, the capital of the Republic since 1995 is located in Banluk.
Administrative center of the Sarajevo Canton. According to the Constitution of the Sarajevo Canton, 4 communities of the canton, Stari Grad Bs, the center Bs, New Sarajevo, and Novi Grad of Bs form the municipal unit city of Sarajevo.
According to the Charter of the City of Sarajevo adopted in 2008, the city Vech and the mayor belong to self-government institutions of the city.
The Vech consists of 28 dicks which are chosen 4 city communities on 7 members from everyone.
The Bosnian, Croatian and Serbian languages, as well as writings, Cyrillics and Latin, admit are equal.
City budget in 2014 made 11.7 million convertible marks. At the same time, the main source of income was the Sarajevo canton. Since 1992 on the southern part of the former Sarajevo, nowadays the territory of the Republika Srpska. The city of source Sarajevo is located till 2004 carrying the name the Serbian Sarajevo. This city is included into the Sarajevo economic macroregion covering 32 communities, from which 19 are located in the territory of Federation of Big and 13 in the Republika Srpska.
Here the headquarters of the national companies is located.
B&H Airlines, Abecha Telekom Bs, Railroads of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bosna Lijek, Energopetrol Bs, Abecha Gas, Abecha Posta. Commercial banks: Borbanka, Bosna Bank International, Moja Banka, Privredna Banka Sarajevo, Vakufska Banka and others. Location of the Sarajevo Stock Exchange, Development Bank of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. In 2009 in the city 64 subjects of business activity were registered, 42% from which are engaged in trade, 15% in industrial production, 7% in construction, 5% in transport. Business owners -9303. About 20 offices of banks, most of which part foreign. The quantity of busy was people.
For 2012 the DD per capita of Sarajevo was 18.5 thousand convertible marks, that makes 31% of DDD of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. In 1981 the DD of the city was made per capita by 133% of an average across Yugoslavia.
Twice less than in Ljubljana. In 2012 in the city there were 74 hotels and 68 other places of temporary residence, 1,600 restaurants and 1074 bars. In 2013 the Sarajevo canton was visited by over 300,000 tourists, from whom 84% were foreigners, generally Turks, Croats, Slovenes, Serbians and Germans. Average time of stay of foreign tourists was 3 days.
Since 2010 the annual International Investment Conference, Sarajevo Business Forum, at which cooperation of the countries of Southeast Europe is discussed, is held.
The industry consists of production of food, tobacco products, footwear, construction materials, the chemical and textile industry, wood processing, mechanical engineering and metalworking. Products of wood processing, the car, paper products go for export. Among the enterprises of the food industry, the Sarajevo Brewery Bs, existing since 1864. The Sarajevo Tobacco Factory, since 1880. The Plant Bakery and Class Confectionery, since 1902. Milko's Milk Plant, since 1953. The Pharmaceutical Plants Bosna Lijek, since 1951. And Pharmavita, since 1991. Prior to war in 1992 Sarajevo played a role of the Balkan Detroit, being the largest center of automotive industry in the Balkans. The Sarajevo Automobile Plant Senior was founded with the participation of Volkswagen in 1969. At first I released the Volkswagen Käfer car, then Volkswagen Golf I, Golf II. In the 1988 years I produced about 25,000 cars a year. On the eve of war in March 1992 from the conveyor there was the first copy of Golf III. In the subsequent the line of automobile cables was transferred to the city of Rudo. After the end of war the plant assembly of cars of the Volkswagen and Skoda brands was resumed. The Sarajevo motor plant FOMOS before war provided 10% of jobs in the city industry. The plant manufactured engines and details to cars. It brought to 42.5% of all income of economy of the region of Ilidzi. According to 2015, about 50 workers work here. Energoinvestan was the largest enterprise of Bosnia and Herzegovina which made the power equipment for export. In 2011 it sustained losses on tens of millions of brands.
The Hydrogradnja enterprise in the past was engaged in construction of road infrastructure and hydroelectric power stations in Yugoslavia and abroad.
In 2013 had debts on tens of millions of brands. The Sarajevo candy factory went bankrupt in 2006. The Pretis munitions factory which was injured during war continues to make ammunition which is sent for export to Serbia, the countries of Asia and Africa.
In Sarajevo the editorial offices of national editions are located.
Public Telebroadcasting Service, Radio and Television of Bosnia and Herzegovina, daily newspapers, Oslobods, and Dnevni Avaz, Start Magazine, Slobodna Bosna and Ebechedani weeklies. Here the editorial office of Labama Jazeera Balkans TV channel, broadcasting in languages of the former Yugoslavia is located. Local TV program, Television of the Sarajevo Canton Bees.
The Radio of Sarajevo radio station broadcasting at a frequency of 90.2 Mach.
The Sarajevo television tower, one of symbols of Sarajevo, is located on the mountain Kum within the city, has height of 78.5 meters, was constructed in the early 80s. In 1992 during war it was damaged as a result of shelling. The healthcare system at the level of areas consists of 4 polyclinics in each district of the city, their offices of the Center of Female Health and Motherhood. The stationary help is rendered by 2 hospitals and clinical center of the Sarajevo University. There is a cantonal lunatic asylum. In 2012 in the Sarajevo canton 6879 crimes were registered, including 222 mines life and health, 545 robberies and robberies.
On this indicator the Sarajevo canton almost by 8 times advances even the most populous Tuzlanski canton which is in the lead on total number of crimes in the country.
According to the head of the Helsinki Human Rights Committee in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in 2011 in Sarajevo there was a discrimination on ethnic sign which is shown in infringement of the social rights of people, practice of a segregation of pupils at schools. The scanty number of the Serbians and Croats holding positions in authorities of the Sarajevo canton. Over 96% of employees are made by Muslim Bosnians. For providing the civil world according to the Dayton Agreement near Sarajevo. Otmar Base. The team of peacekeeping forces UFOR Althea and is billeted. The electric power comes to the city from thermal power plants in Kokani and Tuzla, and hydroelectric power stations in Mostar, Salakovca, Grabovica and Jablanica. Since 1979 viaduct the pipeline from Zvornik located on border with Serbia, the city is connected to the gas transmission system of Europe and Russia.
The centralized heat supply is organized with the assistance of utility companies of Toplin Sarajevo and Sarajevo Gas. The main source of water supply of Sarajevo, the source of Bačevo located on the Sarajevo field connected with an underground waterway of the Železnica River.
Bosna's inflow. The system of the sewerage in pre-war time served about 70% of the population. The treatment facilities calculated on a population equivalent in 600,000 people, according to 2015, don't work. Sarajevo, large knot of highways. A BIS highway passing from the north on the country south connects Sarajevo with the cities of Visoko, Kokans, Zenica, Doboj in the north and Mostar in the south. The road is a part of the European automobile route C73 and E761, with an exit to Croatia, Hungary and Serbia. The highway of national M value of BIS passes through all city in the west direction, in the west connects to highway M of BIS which, in turn, connects Sarajevo to other country in the meridian direction. Highway M of BIS goes to Mostar and to Chaplin. Public transport of the city. Trams, trolleybuses and buses. Services utility company of Gradski Sobraka Sarajevo. City transport of Sarajevo. The Sarajevo tram conducts the history since 1885. It plies on the trunk main of the city along the Miljotsky River, from Bashchashaya to Ilidzi. The Sarajevo trolleybus B started in 1984 connects the historic center of Sarajevo to Source and Sarajevo. The Trebevitsky cableway was opened in 1959. I had length of 2064 meters, height of raising of 576.6 m. I consisted of 2 stations connecting Mount Trebević to the region of Bistrik in the downtown. Speed of rise and descent I made 12 minutes. I functioned prior to war in 1992, then it was destroyed.
The railway station represents the massive reinforced concrete building built by the German prisoners of war on the project of architects from Czechoslovakia and East Germany in 1953.
The station is located in the downtown. 2 branches connect Sarajevo to northern regions of the country to Bihać and the cities of Jablanica, Mostar and Šaplina in the south. The international trains go to the Croatian cities of Zagreb and Plock. The old station BIS in Bistrica on the left river bank of Miljotsky was built in 1906. With closing of the narrow gauge railroad in 1973 and to the subsequent dismantlings of ways, the building lost the purpose.
It is carried to cultural and historical monuments of national value. The bus station close to the railway station serves long-distance and international routes to Croatia, Slovenia and Western Europe.
Bus communication with Serbia, Montenegro and the Republika Srpska is carried out through bus station of Source Sarajevo. The international airport, Sarajevo, is located in several kilometers to the southwest from the city, in the territory of Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
From 1994 to 2015, the place of basing of planes of national airline B&H Airlines with the headquarters in Sarajevo.
I interrupted work during the Bosnian War. Regular flights. 2015. To the European Union countries, Switzerland, Istanbul, Belgrade, Oslo are made. On the western outskirts within the city, the military airbase Railovac is located. In Sarajevo, 35 cultural institutions work. The Cultural Center of Bosniak, the Bosnian Institute, works. Annual cultural events are held. The International Sarajevo Film Festival since 1995, the International Theatre Festival, a festival of arts, Bashkirski Nights Bees, since 1988, the International Festival of Folklore, an International Sarajevo Festival of Jazz Bees since 1997, the International Mess Theatre Festival, the Sarajevo Days of Poetry, a children's festival. The Sarajevo National Theatre Bees of Bosnia and Herzegovina was founded in 1919. On the stage of the theatre located on Miljotski River embankment, the Sarajevo Opera Bees and the Sarajevo Ballet Bees act. The Sarajevo Theatre of Youth Bees conducting the history since 1950. The Chamber Theatre 55, founded in 1955. Theatre of Warsarter, founded in 1992. The Sarajevo Philharmonic Hall, founded in 1923.
In 1960, the 1970th years of Sarajevo, there was the house for the Bosnian bands of Indeksi, also Bajalo Dugum.
The Museum of Sarajevo consists of the main building and 5 offices. Serzan House, Despich's House, Museum of Jews of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bar Bezistan and Museum of Sarajevo of 1878-1914. The National Museum of Bosnia and Herzegovina, founded in the second half of the 19th century. It is located in the building of the Neo-Renaissance style. The Historical Museum of Bosnia and Herzegovina Bees, founded in 1945. The fund of the museum contains about 400,000 units of storage. Arzivi represent the Museum of Modern Art. Collection of works of Michelangelo Pistoletto, Joseph Buis, Joseph Koshit, Yanis Kinelis and others. Art Gallery to Bosnia and Herzegovina, founded in 1946. I continued to work during a siege of Sarajevo. Religion. In Sarajevo, residences of the spiritual leader of Muslims of Bosnia and Herzegovina of the Rijs Ulama, the Metropolitan of the Dabroboznijski Metropolitanate of the Serbian Orthodox Church, the Catholic Cardinal of the Archdiocese of Vrbasna are located. There are about 100 mosques.
During the Olympic Games of their 1984, there was 81.
The oldest of them is the Imperial Mosque, 1556 of construction. Tekia, Nevelviskia and 7 brothers. Orthodox churches of the Serbian Orthodox Church. Cathedral of the Nativity of the Theotokos, Old Orthodox Church, 1539. Church of Sacred Transformation. Catholic churches. Cathedral of the Holy Heart of Jesus, St. Vinc's Church, 1883. St. Anthony Paduansky's Church, St. Joseph's Church, Kirill and Methodi's Church, Church of the Queen of a Sacred Rosary, Franciscan Monastery, 1894. Franciscan Theological School, Sarajevo Synagogue. 1902. Over 20 preschool institutions work.
23 elementary schools, elementary music and ballet school.
34 high schools, including gymnasiums and institutions of vocational training. Herzegovina of madrasa, medical, electrotechnical, musical schools and others. Here the Academy of Sciences and Arts of Bosnia and Herzegovina is located. The National and University Library of Bosnia and Herzegovina, founded in 1945.
During the siege of Sarajevo in 1992, 90% of meetings of library were destroyed by the fire.
The Library of Sarajevo, founded in 1947. During the siege of Sarajevo, together with Archive of Library, 150,000 books died. Has in the structure 16 offices in districts of the Sarajevo canton. The Sarajevo University in a modern look was founded in the 1940th years.
Before education was conducted at the School of Sufism created by Haji Husrev Beg in 1531 and the School of the Sharia Rite founded in 1887. 3 academies, graceful, theatrics and musical, 2 tense faculties are a part of the university, including Faculty of Islamic Sciences and Faculty of Roman Theology.
The Sarajevo Institute of Oriental Studies, founded in 1950. The Sarajevo International University, founded in 2004, conducts training in technical and to the humanities. The Sarajevo School of Science and Technology, founded in 2004, conducts training in technical and to the humanities. The campus of school is located in the suburbs of Ilidzi.
The American University in Bosnia and Herzegovina, founded in 2005, trains in economy and law.
The Sarajevo Higher School of Business, founded in 2004 with the participation of the American Texas A&M University Commerce, conducts training in the MBA programs. The International University Bayek, founded in 2008, trains in languages, economy, architecture and engineering. Sport. The same for Katowice Stadium, the main football arena of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Also there are Grbavica Bees and Otoka Bees stadiums. The Olympic Palace of Juan Antonio Samaranch. Skating rink of Zetter. Sports Center, Skenderia. Play football clubs. Železnica since 1921, Sarajevo since 1946, Olympique since 1946. The Handball Club, Bosna Sarajevo, founded in 1993. The Bozazabi Basketball Club, founded in 1948. The Hockey Club, Bosna, founded in 1951. The Water Polo Club, Bosna, founded in 1980. The annual Sarajevo Marathon and since 2007 is carried out in Sarajevo, and Source Sarajevo holding the European Junior Olympic Festival is planned for 2017. Sarajevo and its vicinities played from February 8 to February 19, 1984 the 14 Winter Olympic Games. The ceremonial opening was held at the Olympic Stadium, Kashivo, nowadays a theme for Katowice Stadium. In the city of a game took place at the Olympic Stadium, the Sports Center, Skanderia, and the Olympic Zetra Complex. Alpine skiing competitions among men took place on the Mount Boleshnitsa, for women, on Yakarin. On Eidman ski jumping competitions, on Nordic combined, on biathlon, on cross-country skiing were held. On Trebovic, bobsled competitions. 1273 athletes, including 996 men and 277 women participated in games. Vukos Wolf Cup was a mascot of games. About $150 million were spent for construction of Olympic venues and the accompanying infrastructure. During War of 1992-1995 many objects, including the most expensive of them, the bobsleigh route on the Mount Trebovic, were damaged.
At the very beginning of war in April 1992, under firing of artillery, the Museum of the Olympic Games in the downtown burned down.
After the end of war the city skating rink of Zetor was restored, however mountain objects weren't restored. For 2015, on Eidman and Boleshnitsa skiing and a snowboard is organized, the cableway works.
Sarajevo has the Palasavidny planning structure which developed in the conditions of limited natural space in an intermountain hollow.
The city axis in the historic center passes across highways parallel each other. Tuhissat Street, Tukulina Ban Embankment and Talali Streets, Mullah Mustafa Basheskia, Marshal Tit. These streets at the exit from the historic center to the west connect to the highway consisting of Zmeya Street from Bosnia, Boulevard Mesha Selimovic, Djimil Bedik Streets and Rustam Pasha in Elidsi. Main pedestrian streets: Branilatsa Sarajevo and Green Berets, and going parallel to them for Kadia and Sarachi. In the same place old squares of Gaitar, Fragerga Martik and others are located.
In Sarajevo the highest buildings of the country are located.
Avest Twist Tower and Housing Estate Bosmalev.
On heights to the east from Bashkir Shire the remains of strengthenings Balatabia and Zhutatabia. Territorial planning is carried out on the basis of the territorial plan of the Sarajevo Canton calculated until 2023, adopted in 2003.
And also the master plan of development of the city of Sarajevo for 1986-2000. 2015. The imperial mosque built on the place of the mosque of the same name by order of the Sultan Suleiman Velikolepny in 1556.
Husrevbegova the mosque 1530-1531 of construction is a shrine for all Bosnia and Herzegovina.
The Mosque Hrvatski is built in the middle of the 16th century, received a modern look in the second half of the 20th century. The Mosque for Kadia is built by the Bosnian Sandakran by Ferkad Begum Vukovic Dezisalik. The Hidsiski Mosque is built in 1541-1561, the Hajj to Mecca began from here. Sinanova Tekia. The Madrasa of Husrevbega or Karshimlaya was constructed by Hazi Husrevbeg in 1537. Husrevbega Library, one of the oldest in Europe. Caravanserai, Hamam of Husrevbega, the Sarajevo Sakakula, the covered market of the Barbazistan. 1551. Husrevbega, Tashlikin's remains constructions of the 16th century. Sekerchakane Bridge near the mayor's office is built during the Turkish dominion. Latinsky Bridge in 1918-1922 carried the name Principov Bridge, by name Gavrila Princip, who killed Franz Ferdinand. Cozy Bridge in the Milyotsky River Canyon to the east from the downtown. In the past I connected the road from Sarajevo to Istanbul. Despochi's house, Despochi constructed by the Serbian family. Old Orthodox Church, 1539-1540. With a rich collection of icons. Cathedral Church, 1868. With the bell tower, 1872. In style of Neo-Baroque. The Catholic Cathedral of Heart of Jesus in Neo-Gothic style is constructed in 1889. Franciscan Monastery, 1894. And Anthony Paduansky's Church, 1914. Church of Saints Kirill and Methody, 1892-1895. In style of the Neo-Renaissance, the architect Y. Bantsash. Sarski Bridge in a modern look is built in the period of Austria-Hungary. The Sarajevo Synagogue, constructed in 1902. National Museum. Muslim cemeteries. Kovek, Alifakovats and others. At Sarajevo. For 2015. Winning connection with 27 cities of Europe, Asia, Africa and North America is established. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.